Hello, hello, I'm Emma Martin, your lead artist for this project, and I'm the one wearing the silly hat. And this is the rest of the team. Paolo, Kushbu, Aliane, Akil, Yamor and Maham.
We are the creative crew from Stanley Grove Primary Academy.
And if you're going to recruit a creative crew to work on an artwork celebrating the power of reading and books, then the best place to begin is in their school library.
Oi! Do you want to make some art with me?
Yeah!
With our creative crew recruited, we were ready to begin. Here's how we got started.
We went to Manchester Central Library as this is where we are going to place our artwork.
None of the creative crew had been to Manchester Central Library before, so we needed to have a good look around. We found out there are 2 entrances to the library. This one on the side of the building and the big one at the front. The library's huge and our creative crew loved it.
Manchester Central Library's brilliant.
We were looking for places for our artwork to go. The creative crew thought this would be a great spot for our giant nest. Then we explored places to put your birds that you're going to make, including here below ground in the children's library. Took a bit of time out for some reading for pleasure, because you should always make time for a bit of reading. But we were soon busy again, hard at work on our project, where we were researching and learning about the inspiration of this work, Frederick Douglass. We learnt about his amazing life, including the way that he taught himself to read, even though it was illegal for enslaved people to learn. And we found out that he travelled from America to Manchester to teach the people of our city about the cruelty and racism of slavery. Frederick Douglass knew how powerful reading was, and he said,
Once you learn to read, you'll be forever free.
We talked about what this meant to us, the idea that by reading we could learn anything that we wanted to. We talked about how birds express that idea of freedom, because birds can just take off and travel anywhere they want, just like we can in the pages of a book. We shared powerful memories to do with reading and books, and wrote them down, ready to use in our artwork. Memories like something amazing we'd learnt in a book, or a time someone read to us which meant something special. And we used them to decorate our prototype birds. Then we thought about all of our favourite books, right from when we were little to now. We wrote and drew about them over the Frederick Douglass quote. And we cut these up into long paper strips to make lovely nesting materials for our birds. And we experimented seeing what our birds would look like on shelves in the library.
Will look like they are waiting to fly off across our city.
Yes, they will, Aliane. And after all that work at Central Library, it was time for the creative crew to get back to Stanley Grove Primary Academy. They still had a lot of work to do, including making their giant birds that are going to sit in the nest that you're going to help to make. I don't think we should show you much more. I think this should stay under wraps, so it'll be a surprise on the 18th of May. Right, that's enough. No more sneak previews. Go on, shoo. They had a final last job to do. They had to unwrap all the packages from the printers. It was all the designs based on their prototypes that were ready for you to use. There was over 50 packets with 10,000 birds inside. Plus all the copies of the nesting material sheets. Creative crew worked really hard sorting them all out into smaller packs for you so you could get on with your artwork. Speaking of which, I think it's time we got on. Thanks for all your hard work, creative crew. You were brilliant. Now it's over to you lot. It's time for you to make your art, and here's how. We need to begin by gathering our ideas together. Remember, there's 2 parts we want you to do. We want you to make a bird where you're going to record your powerful book and reading memories. And we need you to make the nesting materials, which you're going to fill up with all of your favourite books. To get you thinking, I'm going to share with you some of my powerful book and reading memories. I always found reading really difficult because I'm dyslexic, but I loved it when other people read to me. And one time, Mr. Robbins, my teacher in Year 6, read to us Danny, Champion of the World. He'd read a bit of it at the end of every day, would sit with our heads down on our desk and just listen to the words. One time he also gave us aniseed balls to suck because they were sweets that Danny was eating in the book. Maybe you have some really powerful memories of somebody reading to you. Another powerful book memory for me is with this book, The Secret Island. It's about a group of young people that have to run away and live by themselves on an island and feed themselves and build their own house. If things were difficult at home for me, I used to pick up this book, read it and be transported somewhere else, somewhere like this secret island. I sometimes still read it even now. Those are some of my most powerful book and reading memories, which I wrote down to use in my artwork. Akil's powerful book memory was that bit he read in Harry Potter when Hagrid said, "You're a wizard, Harry," and it made him feel quite magical. Very powerful, Akil.
My powerful reading memory is when I was little, I didn't know a book was a pop-up book, and when I opened it, I got a big jump scare.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful, Marham. Yeah. So we wrote lots of our ideas down and we use these worksheets to help us. Your teacher might want you to use something similar, or you could just use a piece of paper or even just talk about it. You'll also want to list and record all your favourite books, the ones when you were little, right up to now. And when you've gathered all your ideas, we're ready to start our art. And we're going to start with the easier one for our warm-up. We're going to start with the nests. We're going to be making the nesting material using all of our favourite books, and we're going to be using this sheet here with the inspiring Frederick Douglass quote.
Once you learn to read, you'll be forever free.
That's the one, Paolo, thanks. So you just start with this sheet, and on it you're going to just fill it up with all of your favourite books, just listing them. Now, if you struggle with writing like I did when I was younger, and I still do sometimes, you could draw pictures of your favourite books on here instead. Now, you can do this however you like. You could use any colour, any drawing materials. You could do it multicoloured. You could do it one colour like I'm doing. You could turn over and do it on the back. You don't just have to draw on the front. I just want you to record all of your favourite books. Now, if you notice, I make a few spelling mistakes I'm writing, and that is fine because this is not our SATs. This is not our GCSEs. This is art and we're enjoying ourselves. So just list everything, all your favourite books. Have some fun with it. You can't go wrong. See how experimental you can get. So when you're happy with what you've done, you now need to cut it up. You need to get a pair of scissors and cut it into long strips. The creative crew want long strips because they want it to be the bedding material for the nests. That will work best. Right, that's our creative warm-up finished. Time to get on with the birds. You're going to be using this sheet, and if you look at it, you can already see there's quite a lot going on. Printed on it is a page from Frederick Douglass's autobiography. It's where he describes when he realised the power of learning how to read. And it's on here that you're going to be illustrating in some way those powerful book and reading memories. I decided that I wanted to write my memories on the wings. You can write or illustrate your powerful book memories anywhere you want on your bird. You could draw pictures if you want to. It doesn't have to be written. Or actually, you could write it in any language that you want to. Yamor from our creative crew is Turkish, for example, so she could have written hers all in Turkish. As soon as you finish recording your powerful book or reading memories, you can get on with decorating your bird. And this is where you can get really creative. We want every bird to be utterly unique. You can use any colours, you can use any materials you have in your classroom, crayons, paint, felts, whatever you have available. You might like to think about the different parts of the bird, like the beak or the eyes, and do those differently. Think about the feathers and markings it might have. Just enjoy getting creative and make this bird your own. I used 4 or 5 colours in this one, but I also tried it out just using a single colour. I just used blue here. I chose blue for Blue Peter, but you could just pick your favourite colour. And if you notice, very little of it's actually coloured in. It's just a few dots and splodges and patterns. This example, I used just wax crayons, and actually I quite liked it more than the felt tip pens. So if you've got wax crayons, they're a great material to use. The colours all blended and it was really quick to add lots of colour. If you are using wax crayons, something you need to be careful of is not to cover over the two little rectangles on the bird. This is where we're going to be putting some double-sided tape later, and the tape doesn't stick onto the wax crayon very well. So just avoid those areas. On this bird, you might have noticed I haven't written my powerful book or reading memory. I do it later, but only in a little bit of detail. This is to show you that if you're somebody who finds reading and writing just too difficult, maybe a teacher could write 1 or 2 key words in for you. I wrote Danny, just to sum up my big memory about Danny, the champion of the world, and that's fine, that's enough. When you finish the claws and the wings and the body of the bird, there's one more job to do where you need to write your school, your class and your name. Now, you don't have to put your full name if you don't want to, you could just put your first name. When you've done this, you've got all these areas to cut out. There's 6 different things to cut out, so let's go.
Carefully cut around the outside of your bird shape.
Good advice, Marham. Just take your time to do this. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just try to make sure you've got all 6 pieces cut out. You could keep the Blue Peter Book Club badge for a display or something, and then put the rest of the scrap materials in the recycle bin. Now we need to join all the different parts of our bird together, and to do this you need to use the double-sided tape that I've given to your class. Start by sticking your label on the underside of your bird so we know which bird belongs to which young artist. You only need a small piece of the tape. You just tear a bit off the roll, stick it onto your label, peel back the backing, and then you can stick it down. The bit of backing paper just has to go in the bin. The double-sided tape makes a good join. It's actually stronger than a lot of glues, so that's why I want you to use it. Don't stick your label right in the middle of your bird. This will make it harder when we fold it in half later. So just stick it down to one side. And we need to add our wings. We just need a little bit more of the double-sided tape, which we're going to stick onto the 2 areas that are labelled. Just roughly measure up the size of the tape against the wing, then rip a bit off and stick it down onto the spot. Do it again, the other one. Peel off the backing paper and stick them down. If you've got very short nails, you might find it tricky to peel off the backing paper, but just get a friend to help you. That's one wing done. I'll add the other one. And then what's nice is if you sort of bend it forward a bit, it gives it a nice shape. Lovely, just the feet to go. Now, when you're attaching the feet, you've got a choice here. You can use more of the double-sided tape, but some of the creative crew found this a bit tricky. It does work, but if you look, you're tucking it in. You're not going to see the joint. So if you want to, you can use some sellotape instead if you've got some in your class. The inside of your bird won't be seen. It's not on display, so it doesn't matter if you use sellotape there. As long as the outside looks nice and neat, it doesn't matter what it looks like on the inside. In fact, you could just stick your label on inside with a bit of tape if it works for you. Lovely job. And I'll just give you a few tips for folding your bird. The creative crew and I found it easier if you just fold the beak first. If you wrap it around your finger and fold the beak and then fold just the tip of the tail, then it folds really nicely by itself. Can you see that? So that's my little top tip for folding. Just do it as neatly as you can and then your bird is complete. Splay out his little feet. That helps him stand up. And there he is, or she, a bird ready to take off and share with the world all our powerful memories of reading and books. Khushbu used chalk pastels for her bird, and she left large areas with no colour at all, which looked great. Marham's was a real explosion of colour, and I liked the way she hid her memory underneath the wings. Alian used writing as his main part of his decoration. He just had a little bit of colour, and the rest was writing. Artists call this text art. However you choose to make your nesting materials and your birds, they will be absolutely brilliant. Keep your work somewhere safe, and I'm going to come round and collect it all from you on the 9th of May. When I take your work, I'm going to swap it for some information all about the Blue Peter Book Club live event. And you'll also get one of these artist passes, which I want you to keep safe until the 18th of May. And in the meantime, I'll have taken all of your artwork over to Manchester Central Library, where we're going to take over the entire building, filling every shelf, every room, every floor.
Wow! Our birds will look amazing when they take over the whole library. There will be over 10,000 birds.
That's right, Akil. 10,059 birds to be precise, all celebrating the power and the freedom that reading and books can give to us. And the birds will be ready and waiting for you and everyone else to see at the library at the Blue Peter Book Club live event on Saturday the 18th of May. Bring your family and friends to see your fabulous artwork. Join in all the free fun and activities, kicking off a spectacular summer celebrating the power and the freedom of books and reading.
Bring this artist pass with you so we know you are one of our artists.
And you'll know who the creative crew are because they'll be in their school uniforms. Make sure you come and say hello on the big day. And you'll recognise me because I'll be wearing my silly hat. We can't wait to see your artwork and we can't wait to meet you on the 18th of May. Bye. Bye, everyone.